excited to be moderating Diversify number 4 for FEMWAV. I actually came across this community a few months ago when Ananya was moderating a panel last March, I believe. And I joined on Google Hangouts, and it was very much like this. It was very like informal, open discussions, and I really liked the idea of that because I'm sure everyone's been to the really stuffy formal meetings where you don't feel like you can put your hand up and say anything. And yeah, I started talking to Ananya and Samrat, got to know a little bit about the missions of FEMWAVE is a collective looking to amplify women, queer, non-binary, gender minority folks in the music industry, safe spaces where we can talk about things that are relevant to everyone who needs to use it in the creative industries. And in-person virtual activations, we're still like working on a cadence of that, but Diversify is a series that FEMWAVE runs where we have speakers, usually in a panel format, who are experts or kind of like getting into the subject that they're talking about. And for this edition, because Web3 is such a buzzy term all over the internet right now, we figured what better way to get started, because we also want to learn more about it. This term Web3 is something that means everything and absolutely nothing at the same time to many of us. So if I had to like tell you what I think Web3 is, I think it's just an idea for the next generation of the internet, and it consists of a bunch of tools and different kinds of technology to what we use now. But what stands out to me the most, and I think everybody on this call will resonate with it as well, is it's based on the values of decentralization, autonomy, transparency, and it's driven by community. So I'm going to stop talking and let Jay tell us a little bit about his experience and then kind of go into Web 2, Web 3, new technology, old technology, all of that a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks, Pragnya. Firstly, thank you for the introduction and welcome to everyone. Understanding of Web3 is important. And to put it in a very layman context, I think Pragnya said it very appropriately that it's an idea. It's about decentralizing everything that has been built, taking the power away from a few and giving it to a few more. At least that's where we are at present. The idealistic way around it is that everyone should have that kind of power. But right now, if like 10 people were holding it, now we at least see 100 holding that kind of power with Web3. So that's, of course, a step in the positive direction. What I would like to share some light on today would be what Web2 has done right and wrong, and how we can use Web3 to navigate that space better, and how to transition into the Web3 space. So speaking primarily from a context of creators or as an audience, we are completely dictated by these algorithms of social media platforms on what we see. Yes, they read patterns and there are AIs which are tracking everything we are doing. But to a major extent, we still do not take the call of what we want to see or what we don't want to see. There are options to just click on that button to receive notifications from your creators. But of late, I've tried that and you do not get a notification instantly. You still have to go to their profile and check. So there are major gaps in terms of how Web2 has worked or is working. I'll give you an example from my personal experience. Back in 2017, I released my first music video and I tried to boost it over Facebook. So like I didn't put a lot of money. I think I just put like 1,000 rupees or something like that to just test like how does it go. And I got a lot of traction in terms of the number of likes and views. One thing I did was I did not upload that asset, the video or the image directly on Facebook. I used an external link, which was YouTube. So when I was able to track the direct, like that funnel of how many people who saw it on Facebook were actually going to my YouTube and viewing that actual video, it was zero. It wasn't even 1 or 2 views, it was zero. So I spent time to go over each and every person who had liked it. And they were all bots or they were fake profiles. So that was my only time I actually spent money in terms of marketing and trying to build traction. And this is where creators in general are breaking down and they're moving towards building their niche communities. These conversations led to the development of Web3 in the first place. So at this point, if you talk about creators, you talk about businesses, you talk about any kind of brand or organizations, they are all focused on building their communities. So there have been two things which creators, and as musicians we are also creators, we have been forced to do. Number one, create more and more content which is not directly relevant to the art form, just to stay relevant. People do find ways of doing other things. They probably were not comfortable in that setting, but they have reached a point where they have to do something like this, where people will see, they will focus on what they are trying to do, and ultimately trickle down and understand what actually that creator is offering. The second thing is, from the audience perspective, their attention span literally towards everything has drastically reduced. One thing which we've been speaking of and Web2 has done brilliantly is discoverability. That is one thing which is still missing from Web3. And that's where that space of finding the best of Web2 and Web3 align is this. Because we have the algorithms, they have that kind of an audience, that kind of a market, that creators can still reach newer audiences on a daily basis. But the main question which arises right now is Web3 is active for creators, but how do they build those communities individually? It is difficult for a creator to bring their entire audience and translate them over there. So, for example, you have a following of 1,000 people on Instagram. Maybe five, maybe 10 of them will trickle down, not the entire 1,000. So it becomes very difficult for a creator to sustain and keep creating more content or using another platform, because the majority of the audience and the discoverability is still happening over Web2. So what Web3 does allow in this place is direct communication, which is not prevalent in Web2. You will not see who your super fans or your top fans are. You will have to individually track down every message, every like, every chat, how many times someone is sending you a message to identify that. And even this will not be cross platform. So there will be certain people on YouTube, there will be certain people on Instagram, because we have reached a point where, as musicians or any kind of creators, we are constantly spending time on all of these platforms. So that is what Web3 aims to break, that you're able to find those top fans or creators in one place, engage them, reward them, and through those direct conversations, through giving them exclusive content, for giving them that status of a super fan. So we want to use tech to solve that problem and understand and have that two-way conversation where you are aware and you are able to add more value to people who are ready to invest so much into you. One thing they always said was feedback. Because I am a musician too, I would love to hear feedback from them. And this is how I feel Web3 works beautifully in the Web2 setting, that you keep using the Web2 platforms, you keep discovering new audiences, let the audience discover new creators, find the people who are genuinely interested in you, build a community, and offer them these additional things, which can be via NFTs or just to the decentralized platform as an idea, that you're giving them that kind of access towards your journey. That's exactly what they're looking for.
We spoke a bunch about investing in an artist as a fan. I'm going to zoom out a little for this next session and talk about another very prominent aspect of Web3, which is cryptocurrency.
Okay, so this is a great segue into what I was anyway going to say. I personally and also professionally as a musician, I became interested in cryptocurrency because of the autonomy that it lends to the individual who holds cryptocurrency. Okay. Now, owing to this fact alone, banks and governments around the world and also in India are not really fans of cryptocurrency. Okay. That's where it stands, because governments of all kinds, no matter how benevolent they look, they want to have control over its people, correct? And uh, the only way that was possible for individuals to earn their living and be of legal status in any country was through money that we use, the legal tender of every country. Then you pay taxes and you be an obedient citizen, and that's that. But with cryptocurrency now, what happens is that Bitcoin, especially, when it started, it bypassed the entire central banking system, and it became a peer-to-peer trading currency. You could bypass it entirely, and through Bitcoin's own blockchain, I could send money to Prarthana, for example, or she could send money to me in exchange for, or even as a gift or whatever it else. We could just send money to each other without anyone else knowing it, and without anyone else's interference. So for that reason alone, cryptocurrency is not encouraged. But the thing is, I was telling Prarthana this, is very interesting, because cryptocurrency is not illegal. So that's very clear. Let me be very unequivocal about it. It's not illegal, it is extra legal. Currently, countries are falling short of actually coming up with any kind of legal framework where they could get blockchain in to the legal framework and say this is allowed or this is not allowed. But that in itself is in direct contradiction with what blockchain stands for, which is the decentralized nature of it. So governments and legal heads are scrambling to put together a legal framework. So that's why, I mean, any government will not encourage the individuals holding cryptocurrencies, because it cannot be, uh, you can't penalize citizens for holding Bitcoin. So they're in a bit of a quandary there. It's legal in the sense that it's legal because it's not illegal. That's the only way that I can put it. Banks are not especially helpful. They are not able to clamp down on cryptocurrency. They are not able to clamp down on legally running, cryptocurrency exchanges in India. They can't do it, but they do try to make it difficult for you to easily buy cryptocurrency. That is something that banks will do, but it's not illegal. I hold, so just as a matter of declaration, I hold Bitcoin and a lot of other cryptocurrencies as well that I'm enthusiastic about. So that's a declaration, and so far zero problems. You have an account on Binance, for example, or WazirX or wherever, and you sell your Ethereum or you sell your Bitcoin, and then from that exchange you get that back into your bank account. That's when the taxation actually legally kicks in. So they are allowed to take 30% of the profits that you make from that sale of crypto. But till the time, so I plan to hold my crypto forever. I am never planning to sell it. I have never sold it. So in that sense, the taxation aspect or the legal aspect of it doesn't matter. And as Ankit is right, it is legal to purchase and sell cryptocurrencies in India, but to use is as tender as an alternative currency is not legal. So I would dissuade people from doing that. So there's a platform called Aave.com, for example. Okay. So talking about the banking system, it is like a bank, but built on Ethereum and on Matic also, and on Avalanche. So it operates on a lot of blockchains. So if I have Bitcoin, I can't obviously go and deposit it in the bank, but I can deposit it on Aave.com. And it happens in a completely permissionless manner. So this is what I think now Pratna was touching upon, that Aave.com or any smart contract does not ask me who I am at all. They don't know my name. They know me by my wallet address. They don't know who I'm affiliated with, etc., etc. Nothing. No papers need to be signed. Nothing at all. It's a smart contract. I deposit Bitcoin or whatever else on it. I earn interest also on it in either form of Matic, or I get Avalanche back or Ethereum back. I earn for however long. I can borrow from it as well, just like a bank. But that's the most exciting aspect. Nobody knows apart from me where I have put it, what I'm using, how much Bitcoin I have, blah, blah, blah. And that for me is the most exciting aspect of cryptocurrency and of blockchain both.
I think that's a very powerful way to think of the future as well, in terms of, like, right now, identity markers are being used in all sorts of ways to discriminate people across the world. And I think the fact that there is an alternative that could work as a solution, it's like what you said, it's taking financial and legal systems and governments time to come up with frameworks that will protect their laws and their citizens while also giving them a certain amount of autonomy to go about their day. Since you mentioned smart contracts, I'd be interested to know, as a musician, as a creator yourself, what are some of the examples of like smart contracts and cryptocurrency that have been used effectively, funding their creative career with cryptocurrency as opposed to traditional forms of like fiat?
Sure. So I'll give you two examples. One is a sort of popular music streaming platform called Audius. They also have a cryptocurrency called Audio, and the entire thing is built on Ethereum, the Ethereum blockchain. And Audius has a lot of big names as well. I mean, and including some very unknown names like myself. I have my music up on Audius, and Audius enables musicians to release their music on the audio streaming platform. You can share the link of your track just like you would on SoundCloud or on YouTube Music or whatever, and people can listen to it. You can run contests on it, and then you can get paid in audio cryptocurrency. Right now, the environment for crypto in general is extremely bearish. People are extremely scared. There is a lot of fear in the market. Bitcoin is falling, and hence everything else is falling down as well. And there's a bit of a negative sentiment in the market right now. But you can, your fans can get connected to you directly without, without Spotify or any other streaming service sort of eating into your share just for hosting your music on their platform. So that's number one. Number two is apart from being a musician, so in the pandemic, since music was not happening much at all, we were all cooped up at home, and I was worried as a musician and as a live musician, and I actually diversified my interest into also domain name investing. So I became a domain name investor during that time. If I sell a domain for whatever, domain names get sold for a ridiculous amount of money sometimes, but also get sold for like $100, $200, whatever. You can choose to also get paid in cryptocurrency. The important thing here is to have a belief in this. So getting paid in Ethereum in general, it doesn't make any difference to my life currently because I can't use Ethereum in my real life scenarios. But do you have the faith in the blockchain technology or not? Do you have faith in this? Is a tsunami. It's building up right now. Inflation is happening. Recession is already there at our doorsteps. Fiat currency is losing its value every single day. So do you have it in you to do your own research? Have faith that yes, one thing is crumbling, so something else is already building, even if it doesn't enjoy a great positive sentiment right now. Do your own research, see what it is for what it is and not be scared. Adopt it.
And it's not to say that immediately put all of your life savings and turn it into cryptocurrency overnight. It's worth bearing in mind that economic financial systems go through uptrends, downtrends, cyclical movements. And as like society, we have to evolve with all of that. And yeah, like I said, these conversations like this are going to happen over the next few years until it gets to the point where everyone has some amount of cryptocurrency. So yeah, I think there's an important question from Pragnya. Could you tell us how to start a wallet on a website where you need to start putting up your NFTs, minimum value, etc.? Any idea?
Sure. Okay, first of all, a digital wallet is not like your bank account per se. It's different in the sense that, okay, so this is going to sound a little nuts for people who have never used a digital wallet like MetaMask or Trust Wallet, Garda Wallet, etc. A wallet is basically a Chrome extension on your browser. Okay, bear with me. And to set up a wallet, when you set up your wallet, you set it up with a password first, but then you also encrypt it or secure it more with something called as a seed phrase. A seed phrase. A seed phrase is basically a randomized list of 12 words, sometimes 12, sometimes 6. And you have to note them down when you set up your wallet first. Note them down on a pen and paper, not on your phone, not on the notes app, not on the computer. You go old school and actually write it down and store it in a secure place. Okay. Now that's how you set up a wallet, MetaMask, for example. And it is like a Chrome extension on your browser. Now, when you buy Bitcoin, for example, you buy it on WazirX or Binance or somewhere else. Now you don't need to store your Bitcoin on the exchange, because as long as it's there on the exchange, it's not actually yours. So there's a saying here. So what Ankit was also abbreviating earlier, WAGMI, is we all are going to make it. We're going to make it. Okay. So that's one. And so there is another phrase, very important one. This is not something that you need to remember about cryptocurrency, is that if it is not in your wallet, it is not yours. So not your keys, matlab the seed phrase is not your keys, not your coins. Okay. So get it off the exchange into your wallet. So every wallet has a longish alphanumerical address. So you get your wallet from the Bitcoin into your address on your wallet, and that's where you store it, and it is yours then. Um, you can also store NFTs, like Pragnya mentioned before. You can also store NFTs on your wallet. Some wallets allow you to do that as well, and there is no minimum value at all. You can have like 0.001 Ethereum on your wallet, and that's it. That's yours. You buy it as and when you want, buy it little at a time, keep transferring it back to your wallet. So that's how you set up a wallet. So very popular and somewhat secure also is MetaMask. You can look it up and research on it. And can you have multiple currency types on one wallet? Absolutely. So not all wallets support all other wallets, all currencies, but some do. MetaMask has an ability to store your currency according to what blockchain you are. So, okay, so I know this sounds very crazy, but so you can have Ethereum or you can have Matic, and you can choose those kind of currencies on those kind of blockchains on your wallet.
But collectives like FEMWAV, like other communities that do this stuff, have a really powerful way of doing this through what is called a decentralized autonomous organization. And it tokenizes every interaction that people have. So we can definitely go into that a little bit. But thank you, Krishna, for sharing your insights on cryptocurrency and how you've diversified your interests. I think all of us learned a lot today. Pragnya, please tell us about your music, your NFTs, all of it.
Yeah. So my journey with this, I decided to do because I had just applied to be a member of the Grammy Recording Academy because I wanted to submit my music for the Grammys, and I was like, okay, this is at the cusp of my career where okay, I'm submitting to the Grammys for the first time. So in case it gets selected for a Grammy, the value of this NFT will really go up in the market. So why not do something and try to be proactive and put something out before, just in case that happens, like it didn't happen. I didn't get nominated. Anyway, so that was why I thought, okay, I should explore this. And coincidentally, at the same time, I got contacted by there's a Singapore based company, Vista Media, that started a website called Fantico. And Fantico is a celebrity curated website where they curate both physical and digital collectibles. And so I was kind of confused at the time, like how is a physical collectible, like how can it be an NFT also? Like that was a confusion for me. So then they said that this is because you get a unique signature that gives you like ownership and it secures the fact that you own this particular, I mean, it's like a sort of stamp of approval digitally and proof that you actually own this physical collectible. So that's how and what was interesting about Fantico is that all blockchain technology, people can purchase your NFT using normal currency or cryptocurrency. So for me, that was interesting because I didn't want to. At that time, I was not very sure about how this whole thing will work. So I told them like, I just want to be paid in US dollars or INR. All right. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like so you'll get an idea. So basically, this was I had a NFT collection and it was called the Katyuchuk My Love. That's the name of one of my songs. So this is what it looked like. So you basically have a little brief about the collection is, so I had released a Kashmiri English fusion album, which was called Kehwa Speaks. And both of these, we had crowd funded a music video, which was a digital and It was a mix of paper cut animation and digital animation. So we took some parts of that video and converted it into an NFT. So in that collection, we had Hava Khatun's Ode to the Moon and Hava Khatun's Eternal Wait, which were both from the same. It's a video and music NFT. So let's take a look at this. Is
Very
what it
cool.
looks like. Just to give you an
Got
idea, this is like there's actually music also playing in the back of this video, and it's just a short like 1 minute thing. It's just basically
yeah.
based on a Kashmiri poetess whose name was Haba Khatun. And so, as part of the NFT thing, it wasn't only just a video collectible, that digital asset collectible that the buyer gets, but they also get a 45-minute live performance and interaction with me when they buy this NFT. So we had put
Hmm.
it on the marketplace in a way that firstly it was put as a open to bid. So you can either, there are two formats. One is you have a fixed price, and the second is you can put it up for auction. So like this was the way it looks like. What are the properties? It's basically just an MP4 file, and this is a contract, this is a blockchain, and the token ID. And then what you do is it goes up, and there's a certain number of days that it's there for. And then it's put on the marketplace, and then people bid an amount, and you start off with a particular amount. So now this was my first foray into the NFT space. So I think I put the bid like really high. And later on, I started seeing that people are actually putting much lower bids and making smaller NFTs. So I think that is something that was a learning for me, which I realized it might be more cost effective for the fans to have some type of NFTs which are just valued at a lower price that they can buy and then feel like they own something. Because so now there's a new collection that we're coming up with, and based on the feedback of this, the collection is kind of going to be a mix of physical collectibles and a digital asset. So to create this, I actually created it on my own. I took this music video on Adobe Premiere Pro, and I just cut out a segment of it, and then I put fades in and out. And the contract which I signed, so this also, Pratna, I wanted to say is that initially you were talking about splitting the royalties of the song. So I was very clear in my contract that I don't want to do that, and you have an option to opt out of that. Like when you have music NFTs, it's not necessary that everything that you put up, the people will share royalties. So you can
Yeah.
explicitly state in your contract that this is not something that you want, because I didn't want to do that. So
Yeah.
in my contract, it says that whoever buys the NFT does not own the rights to the song, and
Hmm.
it can be used in the metaverse and all that, but they don't own the rights to the song, and neither will any royalties from that song be going to them. So
Yeah.
what I've seen works for artists is, and I can name a few international artists that have been doing some really interesting things around NFT releases, which I think again Samrat was asking. So Kings of Leon was actually the first band to release their album through NFT, and they created three different experiences for their fans. The first one was something they called a golden ticket, which was like basically a NFT that you buy, and that gives you the fans like four front row tickets to every concert of theirs for life. And they offer you in a cool car to the concert. They fill the car with merch at the end of it, and you get to interact with the band. So this is something that a fan would like to buy. So there's two kinds of buyers. One is a fan that you would like to engage with, and the other one is people that are interested in seeing you grow as an artist, who would just want to invest in you for their own return at the end of the day. And then there's a super engaged fan. So what I've seen works a lot with artists, which the fan want, and as Jay had also said, is they want an experience where they get to interact with you, or there's some form of interaction, or they have something physical
Yeah.
beyond the digital asset. So I would say that for artists, what I'm seeing for the future that would work would be a combination of having a digital asset, but also giving your fans some sort of an experience that they can remember, like in real life also. So I would say, like, my next collection, what we were thinking of doing is combining like merch of that I have, plus the digital asset, and also giving them a ticket to the next show, something like that. So when you bundle a few things together, I think it becomes a more attractive proposition for people, fans, to actually buy that NFT, because they see it as a much higher value offering, or something that's exclusive to them, only, and they get
Yeah.
exclusive access and all, as we discussed earlier. That's how I see like the future of artists releasing NFTs, because honestly, like all of us, we invest so much money. I mean, all of us are artists here, so we know how much money goes into making a music video, stream our music on all these platforms. The kind of revenue you're getting from streaming is very negligible. And the second problem is that during the COVID time, we weren't earning at all from live performances. So I think that's what also drove a lot of us into exploring alternate means of making this a sustainable career. So many people just stopped making music because they weren't able to survive. So it might not be that this might reward you immediately. It's something that you have to be patient with also, because try a lot of things and see what's working. Or
Some really valid points here. I'm a super fan of a few artists, and the only reason I would buy an NFT is if it gives me unlock some level of access to them that I don't have already. And I think that like interaction thing is really important. I saw on your NFT page as well, you offer like, 45-minute
yeah,
performance and interaction, and
yeah,
that's something that you obviously can't give everyone. It would drain so much so much like energy and so much out of you. But if you do make it available to like a select few, over time you get to be known as that artist who spends like, an exclusive
yeah,
amount of time with their top fans.
As much as we would like to idealize the decentralized space, the reality is that, Instagram is here to stay. Most of our followers, a musician or not, to push them from Instagram into only a decentralized platform is going to be nearly impossible. So there has to be a way to sort of bridge Instagram and this both. Like Pragnya said, release some material here, but then have some only exclusively available as an NFT or something else on decentralized platform. But I think also, it was my misconception as well that NFTs might work only well for someone from a visual medium. Like visual artists would have a greater advantage. Maybe they do, but I think musicians can also harness that a little bit more by probably making their album art into NFTs, or maybe their great pictures as NFTs as well, and probably monetize that. So maybe FEMWAV probably step in and help them get that minted, something like that, because minting again requires some cryptocurrency investment as well. So
yeah. And some ideas to build on what she said for musicians would be: number one, take like handwritten lyrics and you can just like move it around, like animate it slowly or something. Handwritten lyrics. It could be whenever you're making artwork next, please ask your animator or whoever the artist is to, if it's being made on Procreate, can you capture the process of him making that artwork and make that little video into an NFT. So a bunch of things like that. We are artists, we're creative people. I'm sure there are a ton of other ideas people can come up with. So out of one music video, if you cut like 4 sections, you can have like 4 NFTs and put that under one collection. Like,
yeah, I think Ankit's made a very valuable point, which is the
yes.
like decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs as they're called. That's kind of like, from your suggestions as well, that's kind of the path I'm seeing being suggested to FEMWAVE, is to just educate people
Yeah.
on what these new tools and technologies are. And we have this community of artists who are putting stuff out, like Pragnya, and maybe even Krishna and Jay in the future. So we can really just like mobilize our followers to kind of understand that, hey, here's a wallet, let's do a session on how to set a wallet up, and the next session we all go and buy this NFT that an artist we know and support and love has dropped. So I think
Yeah.
things
yeah.
like that are very fundamental to start that behavior of fans being motivated to enter and explore this world of new possibilities.
And also, like a lot of
So
people are coming up with now metaverses. So a lot of the NFTs that you buy would be something that you can use in the metaverse. So like even Vista Media, the ones that made this, they're Singapore-based company. They're coming up with a Vistaverse, their own metaverse. So like all these NFTs will have a place in that, and to prepare the release strategies. Like as Krishna said, right? Like right now the Bitcoin market is down, but it can go up. And then if you choose to invest in things now and just look at it as a long term investment, then It will reap benefits for you, but you have to be patient. People, I think, get into panic mode and start just like, oh, let's just like do whatever. But you have to have the long term
Yeah.
vision for your career in mind.
Yeah, it's not like waving a magic wand and overnight becoming
Yeah.
NFT rich or crypto rich. It is having that vision. And I think
Mm.
like you keep saying this is your first like experience into like
In
NFTs, but
NFT.
you've clearly got
Yeah.
the like long-term plan sorted. So event that we've had and all the insights we're taking away. So I think that'll be really cool as well to see everything that we've talked about in the last hour and a half culminate in like one piece where we can, try and like put things together.
Mhm.
Before we go offline, we have 4 minutes left. How can we as FemWave tap into Web3 to empower the communities and the people whose voices we are trying to amplify?
Say that I think the most important step in this whole thing is to take some steps. Because people just tend to be like, yeah, we don't know about, like, if you go there, ask people, find out, and just start. Just see that out of all my current releases, and how can we monetize the assets we've already created so far, like all the music. The second, I would say that to build it into your release strategy going forward, like seeing how you can create experiences which are engaging for your fan, or some exclusive content for your fans using this as a medium. There's a separate community that you can create like online of people that have access only to your, that becomes like another community that's part of your engaged fan base.
Actually, Pragnya just covered the most important aspect of that. And I think as much as we would like to idealize the decentralized space, the reality is that, Instagram is here to stay. Most of our followers, a musician or not, to push them from Instagram into only a decentralized platform is going to be nearly impossible. So there has to be a way to sort of bridge Instagram and this both. Like Pragnya said, release some material here, but then have some only exclusively available as an NFT or something else on decentralized platform. But I think also misconception as well that NFTs might work only well for someone from a visual medium, like visual artists would have a greater advantage. Maybe they do, but I think musicians can also harness that a little bit more by probably making their album art into NFTs, or maybe their, like some great pictures as NFTs as well, and probably monetize that. So maybe FemWave could probably step in and help them get that minted, Polygon, that's Matic, as their metaverse basis on which they're building everything. Matic, I love Matic personally, also because it's shown us a great run in the bull market. It is still holding pretty steady even now in the bear market. In fact, I own a Polygon NFT that I minted as well. So I like Polygon. There are lots of ideas there to explore. So that's what I would say.
So many, like, just you have to
Yeah.
be creative and what all you can use to make NFT. So it can be unreleased audio, it can be lyrics, it could be your artwork, it could be whenever you're making artwork next, capture the process of him making that artwork and make that little video into an NFT. So a bunch of things like that. We are artists, we're creative people. I'm sure there are a ton of other ideas people can come up with. We can make some videos with Ankit and all of you guys, like just telling an artist, okay, this is the step one, step two, step three, and here's your first NFT. Now, like something like that. I mean, I could try to help you in how to make the NFT, and then Krishna could do how to put it up on the whatever. Or Ankit can also join in some way.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much,
Bye.
everyone. I'd like to give a special shout out to Prarthana for being the one man army and actually putting all of this together.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
This is great. I learned so much.